Hello, 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 hello. Hi there. I hope you all have had a great weekend. The weather's been really good here in Maryland. A couple of things I wanted to talk to everybody about tonight is American oppression and the fact that all is not lost, but some promises have been very long in the keeping. If we go back at least 1,000 years, and yeah, I'm talking that long ago, when the when the first settlers came to America, they were, by and large, religious refugees from other countries. And what they did was there was a certain amount of Catholics, there was a certain amount of Protestants and all that who came on the East Coast to the Annapolis area and started coming here. I believe that was sometime in the 1600s, I believe. And once these religious people who had been persecuted in, let's say, England and other places, decided to keep coming over here because, oh, it was the land of milk and honey, lots of land, wasn't crowded at all for any reason, and there weren't all that many Indians here at that point, at least not that were creating any problems. We created the problems when we came here against the American Indians who were here before we got here. They had settled the land, even though they wouldn't stay long in one area, maybe 6 months, depending on the weather, because of hunting, because they had to have their food. And I don't think initially that they were doing much planting. So our first real race wars started way back then. Now, of course, it was a heck of a lot different then than it is now. And we still have race wars going on with the American Indians, believe it or not. People don't exactly call them that anymore, but that's what they are. The American government is, for a long time, put the American Indians on reservations and kept them from leaving the reservations when they wanted to. So that was the precursor to the race wars that we've got going on now, which are much more deadly, except the American Indians had been promised so many things from our government, and the United States government has not kept their part of the bargain. American Indian women are still harassed and beaten up, and the children too, and raped, and they're all still fighting that fight, because people will go near the reservations, they'll steal the women away, and then a lot of times you never see the women again. You don't know where they're at. So somebody has taken the women, abused them, and then killed them. Now, I know that happens in the today in a lot of other communities, and the black communities just as well, more so in their communities. And that's the same type of war that we women are fighting. And this has got to stop. I don't want to hear of some baby that was raped and killed, or a young woman or an older woman raped and killed. And I don't care what race they belong to. I don't care what religion they belong to. It's wrong on any day, or any night, or any time. It's wrong. You know, we have to sit our young men down. I don't care whether they're 16 or 27 or 47. We've got to sit these men down and talk to them and tell them, no, you're not going to do that, because I forbid it. You know, we mothers and grandmothers, we have to get tougher. The cops that are out on the street right now, some of them are just going off the wall. Yes, I know protesters are going off the wall too, because they're burning things. Over the weekend, there was a young man shot in Georgia. I think it was Rashid Brooks. He was sitting in his car in a Wendy's. I think he'd fallen asleep while he was waiting to get his food. And some cops came up and, tried to move him out of the line and get him to move his car out of the line. And somehow he got out of the car and they wanted to handcuff him. Well, of course that he's going to resist that. They suspected he had been drinking. And next thing they knew, he was running from them. And I can't say to blame him. And he stole one of the policeman's tasers and stumbled and then tried to fire at him. And then, of course, they brought the guns out. This was not a situation to bring guns out. Our policemen are just going bonkers. They don't know what to do. Here this guy didn't have anything except a laser gun. And it was their laser gun, so they knew what the laser gun could do. And he sure couldn't kill either one of them, the two cops that were after him. So, I've just about had it with this stuff. And there's nothing I can personally do about it except tell you all about it. And then you all get mad and call somebody else and tell them about it. A race war like this is not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere good. That's for sure. So we need to keep talking to our teenagers. We need to keep talking to the boys especially. You don't have, and I say this in one respect, and I know it's right for one group of people and it's not right for the other. You shouldn't have to fear everybody that's walking down the street. And you really don't have to on a good day. Because not everybody is out to get everybody else. That's just not the way life really is in the United States. Some cities, maybe. And I know that the good police captains and chiefs are trying to do the right thing. But I think they all ought to stand down for a whole weekend. Maybe one weekend a month. And just let people live. Don't go to a Wendy's if they call and say somebody's holding up the line or whatever. The people who are putting the calls out for the police to go to a certain area, the dispatchers, I think they need to have more training as well, because there's too much going on that police are not really needed for. If the manager of the Wendy's had come out and said, hey buddy, you're going to have to move your car, that's probably all it would have taken. And that guy would have Rashid Brooks would still be alive today. You know, these major corporations need to train their managers much better. I can think of several times where they could have helped out had the managers been trained to help an unruly customer or somebody that was just making a nuisance of themselves instead of calling the police. So I'm calling for more training of our corporate companies so we don't have this type of thing happen again. I mean, I know the police are afraid, but the last couple of things that I've seen, the police had no reason to be afraid. At least not for their lives. Maybe a little fearful, but not for their lives. And it's just gone too far. So, you know, also in Georgia, this was in Atlanta, I believe. This Saturday, I guess Saturday night, protesters went to that specific Wendy's and set the place on fire. Now you know that's wrong too. There's no reason for people to go do that. None. It wasn't anything that Wendy's did or didn't do besides train their managers better to handle their customers. You know, Wendy's had nothing to do with the killing of Rashid Brooks. The police officers did. So there's no reason why they should have been targeted to be burnt down. Those people should be put in jail for arson and whatever else, whatever damages that Wendy's has had as far as this goes. Now, I know that none of us that are listening here has had anything to do with any of the things I'm talking about. But we need to keep talking. We really do. Don't lose faith, because there are a lot more people out there who are not doing the bad things. We're always going to have some people that are going to be disturbing the peace and doing things that they shouldn't do. We know that, because we're all old enough to know that. And I just wanted to thank everybody who is here at the moment. Hi, Shelley. Good to see you again. And everybody else who's up the side there. And just not having their name up, that's fine. I welcome everybody. So another thing that I wanted to broach tonight is the subject of how much change is going on in our country and has gone on in the last year. And the reason I say that is all of our lives have been kind of uprooted because we've had to stay home so long. And jobs have changed. We've lost jobs, we've gained jobs. I hope everybody that's out there is working now or is almost retired that can think about retiring for a while. But things are changing as far as the type of jobs that we're going to be able to get. There is a lot of online work. You just have to find something that floats your boat, so to speak. And that's, could be blogging or a hobby that you like, that you want to do more of. There's no reason why you can't do that. Make your hobby a part-time job. There are still services that people need and that they're going to need the rest of the summer And, you know, there's still opportunities out there. We just have to find them. And they're not all that hard. I mean, I've seen quite a few things myself in, you know, the last couple days that there are a lot of jobs out there where you have to pay $40 or $60 or $90 or $120. But a lot of those things they're not all scams, but I'm sure you can make some money with some of them. But you have to be careful, the ones that you sign up for. You know, they'll say, come with me and I'll teach you how to sell $500 of product in a day. Now, I'm sure some people are doing that. But unless you have some money backed up that you can afford to lose, in other words, don't spend more than you can lose. And that's in anything that you put your money into. So, you know, there are scams out there. There's a lot of them. I get calls all the time. But one of the things I'm going to stop doing is to look into so many things, because I'm a curious person. I always like to find out something new. And it satisfies my curiosity most of the time, and not having to put out hundreds of dollars in things. But, I mean, they're out there. You know, there are lots of things out there, lots of ways to take your money while you're sitting home thinking about what you really want to do. But if you can, think of something you wanted to do maybe 5 years ago. Could you turn that into something for yourself as a part-time job? Lots of times you can. Of course, we still have a certain amount of coronavirus that we still have to be careful about. So it would be good if you could do something online so that you wouldn't have to specifically worry about the coronavirus, because we don't know how much longer that's going to last. I mean, it could last until Christmas, for all we know. But as long as people are not paying attention and are going to the beaches and things like that without their masks on and all like that, yeah, it's going to still spread. So we need to tell our grandkids and the people who are going there doing that to make sure they still take precautions. Don't go into a group of 20 people. You know, be sure if you go into a restaurant that they have spaced seating that's decent. I mean, yeah, if you're down in Ocean City, you can, I guess the boardwalk is open now. I mean, I don't know because I haven't been there. But you can always take your food and go sit down somewhere away from people and eat your food. I mean, they've been doing that for years in Ocean City and other places like that. There are places like Lewes, Delaware, and you know, some places south of here that would be good to go maybe for a day. Just do day trips for a while. You know, we've been in the house, we've been cooped up. We can do a day's drive or half a day's drive, and then, you know, find some place to eat. A lot of restaurants are doing that in Maryland here now. You can go and you can sit out on the patio and eat, and you're spaced far enough away, you know, that you can do that and still be comfortable. So think about the ways that you can get away and that you can enjoy yourself. I know that every year in Annapolis we have an Annapolis Film Festival, and they had to, I guess you'd say, semi-cancel that this year because they did have some things available online. Now, of course, it's nothing like going in and sitting in a theater and watching a movie from, let's say, India or Germany or somewhere like that. You know, you're still going to have international films available if you like that sort of thing. You're still going to have other things available that you can do online. But maybe you're tired of that by now. You know, maybe you could grill out in your backyard and take your portable TV out the backyard and sit and watch it and do that. I mean, there are all kinds of things we can do to keep from being bored. And I know now it's getting really bad sometimes in some spots. But that's what we have to put up with for now. I'm assuming we'll be watching July 4th fireworks online from somewhere, whether it's foreign countries or, you know, maybe New York will do it. I don't know. I don't know what New York's plans are right now, but I'm not going to ride up there to sit there and watch fireworks. So, you know, we've got things that we still can do around our holidays. Let's see, the next one after July 4th is September 7th. So that'll be our next thing. And of course, Father's Day is this coming weekend. So don't forget Father's Day for Dad. And your sons and your grandsons, you know, who are married and starting to have their families. It's always nice to be able to see them, even if it's just online like this, you know. At least we can do that. We might not be able to go see them depending on where they're located. But we still need to keep family. And one of the best ways that I can think of at the moment is by video, just like what we're doing now. You know, some families still may have some sickness in their families, and you don't necessarily want to go around them, but that this is an alternative. So, you know, we have to think outside the box a lot sometimes, and we still need to respect others' time. We still need to respect what everybody else is doing for work, whether we agree with it or not. We have to agree with everything. I know there are some people who are still wishing that their relatives were not having to work. I mean, that's like people in the grocery stores. But generally speaking, in the grocery stores, the people who are behind the counters are probably safest, like the people in your seafood department, lunch meat department, you know, cold cuts, things like that, in the butcher area. They can still do their jobs, and they can still cook chickens. So you can take a fresh cooked chicken home with you if you want it. But you know, there are many ways that we can spend our time that maybe we'd forgotten about. You know, get all your shoes out. Check out your shoes. What condition are they in? Do your tennis shoes need to be washed? I know I'm scraping the bottom here. Do all your shoes need to be polished and cleaned? You know, so things like that. I mean, it's difficult sometimes to make things up to do. But that doesn't mean that we can't think about ways to solve problems. Ways to solve problems in the house, something needs to be fixed. I mean, I know all of you have probably fixed everything they could fix in a house at this point. Maybe you want to paint a room. um, but, you know, I want you to think about the things that you have not done in life, that you would like to do in life. What's your goal for, let's say, Thanksgiving? I'm thinking by Thanksgiving we ought to all be pretty much able to visit each other again. I would hopefully think September, but you know, we'll see about that. As long as more people are still staying home and not going out before they should, you know, it may take until the end of September before we can really go out and really shop and really do the things that we've normally been doing for the last 10, 15 years. But we've changed somewhat since then. We've changed in the last 10 or 15 years in the things that we want to do, in our taste in movies maybe, because we've had so much available online now and on your TVs. So there are many things that if you haven't done that you would like to do. Maybe you would like to read poetry. Maybe you would like to read romance novels. Like I said, we've all still got some time to either Twitter away or fritter away or set some goals that maybe you want to write a story or you want to write your memoir, or you'd like to write something about somebody else that you know. Maybe something that happened to you when you were a child, or something that happened to one of your parents when you were a child. You know, look back onto those earlier years and think about what you could possibly do for some of those things. And, you know, the world is open. The world is our oyster, so to speak. And there's no reason why we can't do lots of things that we've always been wanting to do. It's up to you to figure out what that is. Yep, it's up to you. You know, things that you've been interested in for years. Do it. Look into it. What's stopping you but time? There's something that has recently caught your attention, like, I think, isn't there, there was a moonshot recently, and the fellas, as far as I know, are getting close, or else they're up there on the moon now. I'm not sure which, because I haven't kept up with it, to be honest. You know, you may be interested in legal affairs, cases that have been won or cases that have been lost for indigenous people. You know, the legal field can be fascinating. So it's up to you all. I would like to read a poem before I end tonight. This is kind of something a little different that I'd like to read for you. This is called Collage of Memories. Blurred visions, one on top of another. Some confusing, others amusing. A varied collection. Some extolling clear affection. Others vivid, emotional confliction. Tender special times. Conflictions of memories. Times when you hold your breath. not daring to breathe for fear of discovery, excitement of a new life, fear and excitement of impending death. Yet death births a new life, a life of freedom, freeing offspring to be their own people, and freedom from the pains of life, a collage of memories. So with that, my dear friends, I'm going to close. Shelley, I'm glad you were glad to join me. Karen, same to you. Have a great night, and hopefully see you tomorrow. And good night to my other friends who are over here on the side somewhere. So y'all have a great night, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks. Bye-bye.